Warning: the following broadcast contains strong opinions, playful antics, and controversial topics causing off-the-rails fun. Chances for being offended are higher than average for sensitive people. Viewer discretion is not advised. Live a little and have some fun.
Well, hello and welcome everybody to another episode of the Coach's Box, episode 219. Fellas, how are we doing tonight?
Oh well,
I'm doing good.
Ohio State plays this weekend, so we'll figure out how this all ends up after
You,
Saturday night at about 11.
you're doing well. You're doing well, is what you're
I'm
saying,
doing
then,
well. I'm doing well.
Jim.
Glad to be back on with the boys.
Hey, it's been a
been a
hot
little
minute for
bit.
me too. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've been on the last couple of weeks due to various other types of things going on.
But hey,
I stopped in briefly last week from courtside at the Norm Stewart and said hi and got crucified by. Oh, wait a second. Who's not here right now? Hold on.
wait, where's Chris? Anybody see Chris?
Chris has nobody see him, but where's Waldo at? I mean,
Wait,
Jarvis.
where's
I have no
Waldo?
idea. Where's Waldo?
Who knows? He's probably up like this to something somewhere. Who knows?
something. I think he's got a seed meeting tonight. Oh, it's the Park Hill seed meeting.
Oh gosh, gotta love that. Gotta
Yeah.
love that. That'll be interesting with everybody playing, 3 games so far. So no, it's
We'll see what it's like if you were to be able to get on here on his way home, driving home, get on just to complain about the seed he got on the way home.
right.
That's why we're getting done early before that happens.
Well, yeah, he won't even listen to it anyway. We could make all kinds of fun of him now.
I know,
Yes.
that's the thing. Why? I mean, they couldn't get on a Zoom call like us right now, or do it via email. Like, come on, everybody knows how they're going to vote on all these seed meetings for basketball or whatever. Like, it save me an hour drive.
Especially driving down there. I mean, when you got teams coming from every part of the eastern side of this, just do it by Zoom. That's what most districts are doing.
Yeah.
If we can, if the three of us can bring internet gold to the sound to the broadband waves, I think they can seed a couple of teams that have played 5 games so far.
We're playing out of Trenton this weekend, and I'm tired of watching Hogan Prep, and I'm tired of watching Cameron. It's mind-numbing right now how much film I've watched on those two schools.
That's a trek.
What I was gonna say? What on earth are you going all the way over there for?
Well, a few years ago, we played out there, and it's actually a good shootout. There's some really solid teams. Tipton's playing up there, and I mean, there's some good girls teams that are playing up there, and it's a nice facility. So we didn't get a chance to go down to Springfield for the Bill Rowe shootout, so we had a chance to go up there. So we're going to go up there, and we're playing okay, and we've got a couple games, and then we'll get a break, and then we'll have our tournament that first week of January, which will have some pretty good teams in it.
I guess that's nice doing that right before, not necessarily Christmas break, because I'm sure they're in break, but like right before the holiday season. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, we leave Friday about 11. We got finals the next 2 days, and all the girls are stressed out about all that fun stuff. So
yeah,
which everybody
girls
is.
are down at. Our girls have an 8:30 game at Sullivan tonight, and they've got finals tomorrow morning. So, Yeah.
Those 8:30 games are horrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrible.
Well, those
Well,
8:30 games don't start till 9. I mean, that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
Our girls have been in this Sullivan tournament for the last couple of
Yeah.
years. It's a good tournament. There's some good teams in it.
Well,
For the
St.
girls' sake, I
James.
wish they would have gotten the 4:00 game for their sake to be able to get back a little earlier. But nobody cares about that stuff these days. So
Yeah, who cares about the classroom? Golly.
all this coaching's getting in the way of my teaching. Or wait, no, I said that wrong. All this teaching's getting in the way of my coaching.
Yeah.
Rewind.
Yeah.
So this is why we got to tape the show so we can redo that. So,
Edit,
what do you say
button,
we talk a
ding.
little college? What do you say we talk a little college football?
Sounds
I would
good.
love
It's
to.
exciting.
We got
exciting.
playoffs to talk about. We've got Heisman to talk about. We've got portal to talk about. We've got enough to cover.
This may be the whole show, other than the Arenado stupidity that happened earlier today.
Hey,
can I start off on the Heisman?
Go ahead.
The media caved in to Deion Sanders.
No. They caved into ESPN and money. That's what they caved into.
I mean, when and I felt bad for the kid from Boise State because he's had a historic season, and he, if somehow they get through, he could set the all-time single season rushing record, and he doesn't get the Heisman. And there was a couple stats that were brought, and I think Travis Hunter is a terrific player. I really honestly do. But he was just slightly better than the 5th receiver in the country. And defensively, he was just a little bit better than the top cornerbacks in the country. But yet, because Deion, and I hate to say it, Deion set the precedent earlier this year when he decided to start banning reporters from asking him questions. Everybody got scared.
Well, I will say, and I agree. I think stat-wise, the Boise State running back had absolutely historic season. I think second only to one of Barry Sanders' seasons. At that point. So people say lack of competition, whatever. It doesn't matter. The dude put up monster numbers. I don't care who you're playing. It's monster numbers. I will say that Travis Hunter doing both at the same time, the amount he did it, is worthy to still be the 5th best receiver in the country and a very much above average cornerback while playing over 100 snaps a game.
I think he averaged 115 snaps a game. Yeah, I think he averaged 115 snaps a game. And that's
that's
insane.
That's
impressive. Yeah.
To think I don't think he'll be able to do it at the NFL level.
No.
I forget. No. I think Ryan Clark stirred up his own 3-ring circus this week too with Aaron Rodgers. But I think he said it. I think he said it correctly. Hunter needs to just concentrate. I think he can be an elite cornerback in the NFL. He's got the speed. He's got the smarts.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he could step in immediately for anybody in the NFL at corner and just do terrific things. I know Deion's pushing for him to play both ways, and I now you could develop a couple packages for him offensively.
Well, very much how teams use Deion at times.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Or I say return and all that. So to me, this has Shohei vibes because of all of the hype, that Shohei does, pitching and hitting and all of that. The difference is that I don't know. Shohei has done it offensively. I would assume before the arm surgery, he did it on the mound as well. Is it just the fact that it's such an anomaly that you have to give him the Heisman and Jonty just, you just talk about, you had your own historic season, but it just so happened to be that there's this unicorn in the game of football, and it just happened to be the same year because he just absolutely dwarfed Ingram and Henry's Heisman run that they both had at the running back position. And when you say, oh, strength of schedule and who you played, look at Colorado's schedule. Their schedule wasn't like world beaters by any stretch of the imagination.
And when's the last time you saw a Heisman Trophy winner with more than one loss?
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that very often. And I can't remember the last time somebody won the Heisman off of a team that had more than 2 losses.
Right.
All right. Now with the advent and the increased playoff system and the possibility of a future increased playoff system, does at some point the Heisman vote get pushed off to January?
I got to think it's going to.
Mm-hmm. And
this type of situation where if Jonty puts up huge numbers in 3 playoff games, they make the title game where he can tip the scales. That Heisman moment can come in these extra 3 and maybe in the future 4 games that may happen.
And that was the thing, I think, going all the way back with Peyton Manning and Charles Woodson, is the fact that, Peyton goes into either SEC championship or bowl, and he kind of had a really bad first half and then turned around and had a better
championship.
And, obviously they wound up going with Woodson, but Woodson also, he was primarily defensive guy, but he also in the latter stages of the season played a little bit on offense as well. But everybody was talked about Manning, how look at what he did, his stat totals that year. So I just think the way the voter, again,
there's too many voters to begin with. Let's just put it this way. Anybody in the media could be a Heisman voter. Hell, I could be a Heisman voter if I wanted to. There's 1,500 voters. Well, what are we doing?
So who should be the voters for the Heisman Trophy, you think?
I would say, honestly, I'm okay with the media doing it, but not 1,500 media members.
I would love to see them give. I'd love to see them give way more emphasis to the past Heisman winners.
I think that would be.
You think?
In fact, I think they pass Heisman.
No, they have
a vote. I think
they have a vote. I would like to see them put more emphasis on their vote.
Okay, why not either the coaches themselves and or the commissioners of the conferences?
Zach, number one, you can't get coaches to vote in the coaches top 25. You know who does that for them? Their doggone SIDs do it. I know that for a fact. The coaches will tell the SID, but 9 times out of 10, the SIDs are doing that.
The SID does. It says, "Hey, here's the list I'm submitting. Is it good with you?"
Pretty much. That's it. The unfortunate thing is that
here's the list, so it comes from your email.
Exactly. Number 2, the commissioners. Yeah, what do you think Greg Sankey with the SEC is going to do? What do you think Tony Petitti with the Big Ten is going to do? If you got one of your dogs in the fight,
I guess.
And we're already seeing that between the commissioners right now.
What I would be okay with seeing is maybe having the commissioners and some coaches select, 25 to 30 media members to be the voting council, and then the media members do that, because then you're covering all the conferences and the Heisman Trophy winners, and then that group of 25 to 30, and let them be they let 30 people select which 12 teams get into the playoffs.
Eagles one of them. Saw him on the TV. Yeah. He's one of them. Okay, so you're talking about Jonte. What happens, because I think they've got a shot at winning at least their first game. And what happens if he does break? Now, okay, what happens if he does break Barry Sanders' record? Is that because they play so many more games, or they play a few more games? Is that a situation where we have to look at it like baseball, going back from, again, the 1800s into the 1900s, and it's just a new modern era? Or NFL, now that they're playing an extra game, it's a feat. Do you bookmark, say, hey, here's the new playoff era?
I think they're going to have that eventually.
Yeah, especially if they go to 16 teams, or heaven forbid they go to 24 teams. Which is stupid. I think honestly, it's going to go. It's either going to go to 14 or 16, and they're already saying that it could go to 14 next year.
Oh my gosh, why?
Nothing like trying to wait to see if the 12 actually works
If you're
for a
gonna
little bit.
if you're gonna go from if you're gonna go more from 12, then guess what? Now there's two things that they need to do. Number one, if you're gonna do it, go to 16, and number two, or if they keep it at 12, this buy system's got to go away. Seed them, rank them 1 to 12, and fill them in. No matter what
Yeah.
conference they're in. If you win your conference championship, you're in, but you're not guaranteed a buy. I think it was a joke because if you look at the way it's set up, there's some gimmies there.
Oh, in the playoff run, you mean?
In the playoff, yeah. I mean, no way. And I like Boise State and I like Arizona State, but they do not deserve the number 3 and the number 4 seed and a bye week.
Well, the whole thing comes down to whether it's 12, 14, or 16. You're just you're just moving the goalpost of who's number 13, who's number 15, and who's number 17, and then let the bitching consume.
Right.
It's gonna be a bitch fest to begin with.
Okay.
No matter how many teams are in it.
Okay, so because we weren't on the show, and Jim, you can say if you guys talked about this last week at all. So how do you justify one way or the other? How do you justify a 9-3 SEC team that doesn't get in compared to a 1-loss team in a different conference getting in? And then again, where do you get your?
You're talking SMU versus Alabama.
Yeah. Anybody, 15th team, 24th team, whatever. So my question is, there has to be an algorithm that can be created, and to me, this has to go back every single year. It has to go into, you have to rank the players. Okay. Again, they already have their stars. They already have their rankings. They already have their ESPN rank. Then that algorithm, that has to be the place where you actually get a true ranking of each team. And then that gives you through the year, okay, you can start your preseason 25 and say, here's your ranking because this team has X amount of 5 stars or X amount of 4 stars. And then you go into your win losses, and then you go into your conference, because there just has to be a way to justify the ranking, and it has to be a way to justify winning and lose. How can you be mad at an SMU because all they did was win?
Yeah.
Right.
How do you penalize
them? They were in their conference championship game.
Right.
And they should have won the doggone thing. Mm-hmm. If they didn't come out in the first quarter like they'd never seen a football before in their entire lives and go down 21-0 to Clemson.
Yeah.
Everybody
has their. Yeah, I was gonna say look at the SEC and look at some of the games that, again, the teams that didn't get in, they had some clunkers themselves. So are you just giving them that because it says SEC? Are you like, again, there has to be something that's way smarter than us. Somebody can come up with some algorithm to figure that out to where it says, here, plug and chug, and these are the guys, these are the teams.
Well, where this issue really starts, I think, is at the beginning of the year with preseason polls, coaches polls in the first 2 weeks of the season.
Joke.
Mizzou is number 7 at that point at the beginning of the year. And maybe based on last year and who they had come back, you could think that. But they weren't the number 7 team in the country, and you could tell that after the first 2 weeks of the season. I would like, although the media won't allow it in some cases, and ESPN won't allow it to happen, is to not have rankings until that 3rd week.
Right. I've been saying that for years. I tried to beat the drum on the high school thing because I don't believe there should be a high school poll until week 4, but I got told I was out of my ever-loving mind. I don't think, which a lot of people say to begin with.
There's all kinds of reasons for that, Jim.
Well, exactly. But there shouldn't be a poll because now, and honestly, Zach, you've got a great point. Now, in the day and age of NIL, the transfer portal, and all of that, You don't know what these teams are going to get from year to year now. It is not going to be like it was 5 years ago, where you had your kids that were going to play through their junior year. Some of them would leave, or through their senior year, and you knew what the team was going to look like year in and year out. Now you have no flipping idea on who's going to be where, who's going to do what. And I tell you what, and I think the perfect case study is the backup quarterback for Penn State.
Yeah.
Because of the way that the portal is open right now until I believe it closes next Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. No, next Friday. Okay. But you've got Penn State playing in that game this week. What if they win this week? By the way, it's supposed to snow in Happy Valley, and it's supposed to snow up in South Bend. That is going to be flipping awesome football. But he had to make a decision. Do I wait and possibly not? There's the number I saw today. 2,300 names in the portal right now for football.
Yeah.
There's no place for 3/4 of those kids to go.
Half of them just from Marshall University.
We'll get into that.
That's the other reason too why the transfer portal should not open until after the final championship game on January 20th.
Yep.
But the problem, I will, and the converse side of that, and we'll get into it later. The converse side of that is those kids have to have that portal open sooner if they want to start going to classes in the second semester.
Right. No, and somebody asked me that. We were having this discussion out at the Norm Stewart last week, and that was this was a topic, and I said the same thing. I said the unfortunate thing is these kids want to transfer so they can enroll into spring semester. That way they can go, play spring football. In fact, we were talking about Dylan Duff from the Smet going to K-State. He's a hell of a basketball player too, but he's going to grad early. And he's going to start at K-State in January, so he could be at spring practices. And that's what a lot of these kids are doing now.
Yeah,
and Kevin's right.
That's a whole nother debate that I get for them, but it's also like, man, you're not throwing away. That sounds negative, but like you're giving up your high school experience. And I get it. He won the state. It's like I already won state basketball and I already won state football. Like I don't really have anything
in the same calendar year.
But it's like, man, that's also making memories. Okay, but Jim, you brought this up and you talked about preseason. Now I'm going to give you a team in Tennessee, okay? And this is why, Jim, when you bring up a Tennessee and a Mizzou, where Tennessee's a darling because it's Tennessee, and Mizzou, again, they had their clunkers against A&M and
Alabama.
Okay, but like Tennessee. Okay, everybody thinks they're world beaters because they go 69, 51, 71 in their first 3 games, right? But then they exactly Kent State, Chattanooga, and then an NC State, right? But they only 25-15 against an Oklahoma. They lose to an Arkansas team. They have an overtime game against a Florida team who at the time was probably going to fire their coach. They have a battle with Alabama. They have a battle with Kentucky. And so I mean Georgia whoops them, and then again another battle with Vanderbilt kind of at the end of the year. So like why do they get? Oh, they're just in. They're because they're 10-2. They're just in. Yeah. And wait a second, where they were struggling at the end of the year versus. Jarvis always says this. It's like who's hot, who's playing hot. How does South Carolina? How did they not get in? They were playing, right?
I would have put South Carolina in over Alabama. The way South Carolina was playing at the end of the season, if the debate was raging, which everybody they're reporting that it was, I cannot believe that South Carolina was not in that discussion with Bama and SMU. Now, I'm going to say this, and you guys know that I'm the Big Ten show. I'm sorry. Indiana, who'd they play?
But who was on the schedule?
I understand that. And so did SMU. But I give SMU more credit at 11-1 because they made it to their conference championship. Indiana.
So did UNLV. Are we giving them credit too?
Well, I'm watching UNLV right now, and it's tied 0-0 as they're playing in the Art of Sport LA Bowl.
Are they? Yeah, they don't even have their head coach right now.
That's the nearest relation to the Pop-Tart Bowl. By the way, the trophy for the Pop-Tart Bowl is the best thing ever.
That is
Just want to say
cool.
that.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
So,
but no, I mean, I and me and my good friend, Tom Ackerman from Camo X, we were having this conversation, and he's like, I can't believe we got that high. And I go, dude, I'm really surprised still with the way everything shook out that Indiana still made it, because they only took 3 SEC teams and they took 4. Can you imagine Greg Sankey's office on that selection Sunday when only 3 SEC teams made it in and Indiana and the Big Ten get 4? That, I mean, you want to talk about the nuclear bomb going off in their office in Atlanta. It was
so what
crazy.
has to happen? What has to happen?
Not go to the 9-game SEC season, so they stop beating up on each other.
That's number one.
DeBoer, and I believe it was Alabama's AD had the conversation about why are we going to go play a bunch of tough teams? We'll just play the ones. We'll just go play some easier teams, rack up some wins, play our SEC schedule, and have a better record. And we don't need to play,
right?
Yeah,
play the Duke's Mayo Bowl or whatever it is. Yeah.
And Bama's AD better tread lightly right now, because today, if you didn't see a couple of the tweets that went out, he's begging for NIL money. He's basically saying we have to get back to where we were, and we need more NIL money. You're Bama, dude. You got money coming in. Or you could be Sacramento State that says that they got $50 million and they're making the move to the Mountain West. Doug Gottlieb doesn't believe that, but then Doug Gottlieb lost to a Division II school today. So let's that's another story for another day, which I thought was fantastic.
And Sacramento State is hiring Michael Vick as their head coach.
No, Vick is going to Norfolk State.
Norfolk. I heard it was okay.
No,
the
NCAA guys that I do the FCS with. We've got a text message group going, and we all were like, Michael Vick to the SAC, what? And then yesterday it came out that he was going to Norfolk State.
Oh, okay,
that's home. I would say that's got to be closer to home.
Closer to home for him.
So, yeah.
But I don't know how you fix it. I mean, I you've got to figure something out. I think the first thing to figure out, if you're going to stay at 12, get rid of the conference champions that are the highest 4, get the buys, throw that away. You rank them, and your top 4 get the buys no matter what.
So let me ask you this, Jim and Kevin. Do you think all of the schools in 3 to 5 years look at it and say, let's just go to 4 mega geographical conferences, because Clemson already plays the South Carolina, Georgia already plays the Georgia Tech, Florida State. Like you already have these big Power 4 conference games, right? Rivalries. So why doesn't anybody, because they're all smart people, just say, look, why don't we just go to 4 power conferences, do it geographically? We just start a new thing essentially, and we have these geographical rivalries, and let's just do it from there. Is it because people will say the out west isn't going to be as tough as a Texas region or a true southeast region? What do you think?
Hold on, Kevin, real quick. Didn't Professor McVey about a year ago give us a dissertation? He gave us his dissertation on this, and I agreed with you. I think it's going to happen sooner than later. But I think I think the first thing that's going to happen when push comes to shove with football, the power 4 schools are going to leave the NCAA and start their own football side. I'm telling you, if this doesn't get shook out sooner than later, there's already backroom discussions going on, and Greg Sankey has started it. You've got Patini from the Big Ten. I mean, these guys are not happy with how it's shaken out. It's not going to surprise me if you see 4 24-team conferences, and that's how it's going to shake out.
Wow, 424 team count. That's a lot.
That's
I was thinking like 412 to 14 team conferences at the most.
Like I say, there's 100
and just stay at the power. Just stay at the power.
Well, okay,
setting.
Well, and then we go back to relegation, Kevin, which me and you love the relegation piece. If you don't win, you're out.
Yeah.
Well, and Jim said it. I think they have to figure out what that number in the playoffs is going to be and kind of ride it out for a few years and let it figure it out. I don't like the idea of going to 14 or 16 yet. I want to see 12 for a couple of years and see how it kind of fleshes itself out and go from there.
Is the extra
the first
bye,
time the team?
Think? Yeah,
I think
with
12 there would be what, 2 buys?
Well, 12 there's 4 buys right now. If you go to
14,
16,
there would be 2 buys.
There'd be 2 buys. If you go to 16, there's no buys. Everybody rolls.
Yeah.
And all I'm glad about is
the part I also don't like about this current setup is that the 4 teams with buys don't even get a home game in this. The playoff setup.
I just
they're
mentioned
playing
it.
in those bowls.
Happy Valley, it's going to snow. South Bend Friday night, snow. They're saying Columbus could get snow. And by the way, I'm so glad that Ohio State and Tennessee is playing on ESPN ABC. That way I don't ever have to hear Joel Klatt call a playoff game on Fox because he is the biggest Ohio State hater known to man. And I'm glad I don't have to hear him call this damn game.
So, well, so who are your first round picks out of the 4, Jim?
Well, do we want to take a break first and then get into that?
We can do that.
Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back. We'll do our picks, and then we'll do portal talk before we get to Arenado.
Oh, jeez.
So
you're watching conversation.
You're watching episode 219 of the Coach's Box. We'll be right back.
I'm the play-by-play announcer who's in your ear
all game long. And the more praise I heap on your team, the more excited you get. Touchdown! Now, you don't hear the upstairs toilet overflowing, and I don't mean with confidence. You wanted a bowl season? You got a bowl season. And if I can show up on game day, imagine what could happen the rest of the week.
So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem like me.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
It's Between Takes with Daikin and Dave Mars.
Good. All right, next set up.
Hey, Dave, we got another question about energy savings. And this is a good one.
Yeah, efficiency is so important.
Didn't you just talk with Daikin about this?
They said energy efficiency is the key to a happy marriage. She gets the temperature, I get the savings.
Good to know. I'll tell them to check with their local Daikin dealer.
All right, back for one.
Give Home by SMCI a call today at 636-337-4444 or email them at service@homebysmci.com.
You need new entertainment. You need full-length content. You need the Real Fresh channel. Hey, I'm Health Fresh from the Real Fresh channel. Subscribe today on YouTube. We have new content. We are a network of podcasters putting out new stuff every single day. Whether you need sports, pro or college, whether you need comedies, whether you need pop culture, whether you need wrestling, we've got so much content on there. Gaming, check it out. Live, not live, we've got it all. The Real Fresh channel, subscribe today.
Hey, anybody going to take this one? But we're back.
Hey, welcome back to the Coach's Box, episode 219. I'm Jim. He's Zach. He's Kevin, and the other two aren't here. So,
who's that? Who cares?
Waldo?
They're not here. We're not talking about them.
Where's Waldo? I'm still looking for Waldo. I wore my Ohio State hat just for Jarvis. So,
is he wearing a hat? Maybe he's wearing a hat and blue jeans and whatnot. You know, we got to look for him.
No, let's talk about. We won't get into coaches wearing hats while they're actually on a sideline coaching. But anyway, meanwhile, back to the ranch.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I did fire that shot.
Yes,
I did.
You know.
So.
All right. So you're talking
Kevin,
playoffs.
where are we going? Playoffs.
Talking playoffs. Yes.
Playoffs.
So let's see where we think, and we'll speak for the other two because we don't really care what they actually think. Let's flesh this out. Let's see what we all think this weekend's going to be, result wise from the college football playoff. All right.
Okay.
Yes.
So first game up. All right. We're going to go with Indiana at Notre Dame. Zach.
Yep.
Where are you at on that one?
That's my upset. I'll
Good
take Indiana. I'm gonna take Indiana on that one. I know Notre Dame has done what they've done. After that, I think it was week 1 loss. I don't know. The head coach has a lot of confidence. I think they're rolling. I think they've got a good QB. I think that's going to be the upset for me.
All right, Jim.
Can't say it not when you're going to be playing in a snow globe up at South Bend, Indiana on Friday night. I think the game's close if Rourke's thumb, if he's had enough time to get that thumb, healthy. Because when he got hurt the week before the Ohio State game, you could tell during the Ohio State game that he was struggling throwing the ball. But he's had some weeks now to get that thing healed. I just think Notre Dame's too much for him. Notre Dame is very, very much like Ohio State. They're big up front. They're going to really put a lot of pressure on Rourke. And I think Notre Dame's offense is just playing ever since that week 2 loss to Northern Illinois. I think that they've just playing lights out. So I got to go with Notre Dame on this one.
I kind of chuckled a little bit when Zach goes. Their coach is very confident. So is Eli Drinkwitz, but I'm still picking Notre Dame to beat Missouri in that case too. So I think Indiana playing at South Bend in the snow, and I think it's a Friday night game.
Friday night game.
7 p.m.
Mystique of playing a night game in the snow at South Bend. I just think it's too much to overcome for a team that has not been anywhere near a playoff or a high pressure situation for a long while ever. That's Notre Dame.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I agree.
Next game. SMU going to Happy Valley to take on Penn State.
They have the point total at 8.5. I think Penn State in a rout. I'm going to take Penn State in a rout.
If SMU shows up like they did for the first quarter of the ACC championship, that game, and once again, it's whiteout, and I'm not talking to snow yet, but it's going to be the whiteout game. I like Penn State. I'm a big James Franklin fan. I think he does a terrific job. Unfortunately, he can't beat Ohio State and he can't beat Michigan. Oh my God. Hey, we know where Chris Miller is. We know where Chris Miller is. Now we really don't know where Waldo is. So
I am here.
I have 12.
SMU, I just don't think has the physicality to match Penn State. So I'm gonna go with my first Big Ten win here. I'll say Penn State in the win.
I think this game's the most potential for. I think this game's the most potential for a upset of all the 4 first rounders. I do think Penn State but I think I don't think it's a rout. I think it's a close one. I think Penn State wins this one by less than a touchdown.
Ooh.
So,
okay.
All right, Chris, you got 2 games you got to pick. We're going to go with, because we already did one already. SMU at Penn State.
Penn State.
Thanks for the insight there. Best color man in
Fly
the
ball.
business for nothing.
Fly ball.
Yeah.
Call.
All right.
Zach, you're like a year behind. That's what I just said.
He's a little delayed.
It's the computer. It's the computer.
Oh, I know.
Delayed.
It's a little delayed.
I'm aware he's delayed. There's a lot
So,
of delay.
all right, and then Indiana at Notre Dame.
Oh man, I'm picking Indiana in the upset.
Oh, so
not that delayed after all. Not that delayed.
Oh, you caught on that one? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He heard that one,
All right.
folks.
All right, we're gonna go Clemson at Texas.
Hey guys, I gotta tell you, if you hang on, if you would have watched the show last week, me and Jarvis already went through all these.
That's great because we weren't here.
It does matter.
You were like the kids. You were working ahead 2 weeks ahead of time. That's
That's exactly
this
right.
week.
It matters.
Hey, in this portal world, this whole thing has changed in the past week.
Hey, in the immortal words of draft day, this world has changed in the last 30 seconds. You pancake eating.
Pancakes sound good right now.
This is my route. Texas in a blowout.
Yeah.
I think Texas.
This will be the game.
In a closer game.
This is going to make Dabo Swinney. This is going to force Dabo Swinney into having to start using the transfer portal because they are going to get the brakes blown off of them. This is the worst matchup of all of them, and Texas is probably going to win by 4 touchdowns.
Texas in a 30-point snooze fest.
Yeah.
Taking the under on that.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
They just just had a rivalry match with the hottest team, South Carolina, goes down to a field goal. Hey, the point total I think is at 12.5. I'll take the under on that. I think it'll be. I think it'll be a closer game than what you.
Oh, I'm taking the over.
Oh,
so bad.
Oh,
yeah. So, all right, and the last one, I saved this one for Jim. Tennessee at that poisonous nut.
I got your poisonous nut.
Well,
it's 7.5. OSU is minus 7.5.
Zach, do you want the weather report before you make your pick?
No. Here's what I'm going to say.
20 degrees.
I know.
And a wind chill of 10.
Okay, this goes into what we talked a little bit about in the first segment. You can't use overrated because again they won, but I think Ohio State is in a blowout. If I'm looking at any of these other games and I had to say who the blowout, I'm going to take Ohio State in the blowout.
Kevin,
the one thing I always kind of thought pretty highly of throughout the season when I thought of Tennessee was their run game. And I think that in that weather, it keeps it closer. Ohio State still wins this, but it's not a blowout because of Tennessee's run game.
Mark's giving you some love over here, Jim.
Can we strike that text message that just came in from Langhauser? Even though he is the area's best official, we're not putting up with that. Yeah, of course I'm going to say Ohio State. Okay. But the thing that I worry about, Will Howard's not going to make the same mistakes he made against Michigan. Number 2, Ryan Day knows right now he's coaching for his job. I don't care what their AD is coming out and saying. The Barbarians are at the gate right now, and if Ryan Day loses to Tennessee, it's not going to end well down there. So I think it's Ohio State. I know, and plus I think Ohio State knows what's ahead of them, and they shouldn't be looking ahead. But I guarantee you they are. They know they should have beat Oregon. They had every opportunity to. I think they want that rematch at the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. I'll take Ohio State. I'll take the points, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout because I'm still not sold on Ohio State's run defense, and that got exposed big time against Michigan.
Chris?
Yeah, I was just waiting for you guys because I'm picking Tennessee.
Of course you are.
I'm picking the upset because
Josh
you
Heupel's
have
gonna
Ohio
look like
State.
he's good. Josh Heupel's going to look like Frosty the Snowman by the time that game's
fat
over
Frosty
with.
the Snowman, and I'm going to tell you right now, hey, if you can't beat a middle of the pack Michigan team at home, Ryan Day is toast.
It's a rivalry game.
I don't care. He's cooked, as the kids would say now. He's cooked.
He's lit.
Done.
He's lit.
Michigan could have been 0-11. Michigan could have been 0-11.
Well, Tennessee's a better team anyway. Oh, so now wait, all these guys are going to be fired up now. You can get fired up for that one.
If Michigan comes into the shoe 0-10 and beats Ohio State, Ryan Day is not coaching this week. I promise you that.
He shouldn't be coaching this week.
My point.
How do you lose to Michigan 4 years in a row? Done.
Michigan did win a natty, so I mean there is that.
Yeah, last year.
I know.
Can we stop talking about this?
Hey, I'm just telling you, it didn't matter who was coaching on the sideline over there.
Glad to see you too, my friend.
So, hey, the fact of the matter is, I'm going to pick Tennessee with a last-second field goal, winning. Boom, done.
Winning. All right.
Charlie. That football, and then Dave Jarrett. Golly, you know what? All you guys. You know what?
Wait, it ain't even anything personal, Jim. I think Ohio State is underachieving.
They're
underachieving.
Personal.
No, it's not.
They're underachieving.
Get over it. They're underachieving. They should be better than that.
Oh,
wait. Okay.
They're 10-2, aren't they?
Here he goes.
I don't care.
They lost to the number one team, and they lost in the best rivalry in football, college football.
Listen, Jim, I'm going to say this is nothing personal. Ohio State's going to win their first round game, but it really doesn't matter because whoever wins their consolation prize is getting boat raced by Oregon.
You see, I think Ohio State, but here's the thing. I think Ohio State has the answer for Oregon because we saw that in week 4. We saw that Ohio State, if Will Howard doesn't go brain dead and slide too late, they kick the field goal to win the ball game.
Oh, okay.
And I think that game, if Ohio State wins, which they should, and they get Oregon, and it's at the Rose Bowl, which it'll be a partisan Ohio State crowd, I think I like Ohio State's chances there. I'll tell you what, though, I'll grant you this. Oregon was not happy to see that Tennessee-Ohio State game as an 8-9.
No.
How is that going to have a partisan Ohio State crowd if they play at the Rose Bowl? It's closer to freaking
State,
Oregon.
It doesn't matter. Oregon people don't like going to California.
Nobody likes going to California.
Nobody. California people leave California.
Well, why do you think the Ohio State fans? It will be 70-30 Ohio State fans.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
You're gonna wait. Why? Why are they going to go and watch a game that Tennessee's going to be playing in anyway?
See, there you go.
There it is.
Sorry.
So,
no, again, I'm not saying
to remember that
Jim.
I'm supposed to keep my blood pressure down. I'm supposed to.
Listen, Chris, and we'll finish up this part of this. Hey, we're going to finish up this part of this and move on to the next part. Okay. Chris, before I do this, did you guys talk about who you picked as champions last week?
No.
We'll save it. We'll save it for another show.
Save it.
Save it for next week.
Save it when we all can be here.
Save it for a future week.
Christmas break.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, that's right. We're not going to be able to do next week.
Okay. Let's talk about the portal then, and the hot mess that is called Marshall University.
So great.
I will tell you this much right now. And here, I honestly believe this. If you say you're going to go to a bowl and you back out of said bowl, number one, your conference doesn't get that cut of the money. Even if you have a team from that conference, your conference just doesn't get your cut of the money. And number two, that school should be blacklisted from any bowl games for 5 years. And I mean, I'm being serious.
I've seen high school teams play with 17 kids. I'm sure they had plenty that could still play.
You think? If they all
lost
left.
40, you lost 40. Yeah, they all left. I mean, literally, I think
you got a roster. They got like 90 on their roster. They had 50 kids left. That's an NFL roster.
It's not fair to those kids.
They had 36 players in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is a lot, but they still got
who's tone deaf?
Something on their roster.
So who's tone deaf in that situation? My question is, who's tone deaf? No. That's not what I'm saying.
The NCAA.
I'm saying, are the kids, or is it the Marshall? Is it the Marshall higher ups that let the coach go?
I think it's the Marshall higher ups for not renegotiating a coach's contract, and when he had an opportunity to better himself and taking it, I think that was issue number one. But I agree with Chris. I said it in the first segment. The transfer portal should not be opened. And I'm sorry, I know it's going to affect kids that want to transfer to another school, and that they could still do that. But the portal should not be opened until at least the week before the championship game, because now you've got 10 days, I think it is, between the semifinals and the championship game. You open the portal up the day after the semifinals and then have at it. Do whatever you want to do. And then you don't have this problem.
They don't start they don't start the semester till late January anyway.
A lot of schools don't
it's not like it's
January
high school
20th,
kids.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like it's high school where it's like, hey, January 6th or 7th, let's go ahead. No, it's late January. So I don't necessarily buy the kids like, hey, I got to go get in. Like, you could go enroll. It doesn't take you 3 weeks to enroll.
But how many kids also will transfer to another school and maybe start a week later? We've all seen that.
Most of those guys are taking high school. Most of them are taking online classes anyway.
And
so.
Exactly.
Okay, wait, guys. I think we're missing the point here. This is a business decision. They're getting paid. They're looking to make money at some point here. If they're not already, they're looking for the deals. And if you don't go now when the time is right, when everybody else goes, you lose those prime opportunities that other people are getting because they're already first in line. So the NCAA is the one that's messing up here, because when they decide to do the transfer portal, for them to have it open right now, they are screwing themselves out of it. Now, when people don't want to play in bowl games for whatever reasons, because they want to protect their draft stock, whatever. I mean, that's a totally different argument. The transfer portal being open right now is the biggest crock of crap ever, because now you're putting these programs in the situation, or wait, better yet, you're putting the kids in the situation to choose. And let me tell you right now, based on the track record of the NCAA, I wouldn't, if I'm the kids, I really could care less about the school. I'm going to go take care of me. End of story.
Right.
Done deal. So yeah, I'm fine with them doing that. The NCAA is the one that's tone deaf here, because nobody, hey, all the lights are on, but nobody is driving the boat.
No, you're
iceberg ahead.
Chris, I made the comment in the first segment, and I think a lot of this stuff. I know you weren't. That's why I'm going to say what I said. I think because of all of this stuff, I got a feeling that the Power 4 schools are going to basically say, NCAA, bye-bye, and they're going to start their own thing on the football side.
Yeah, they've been talking about that for a long time, and that has not.
Now, I think this stuff is starting to really amplify those discussions. And like I told these guys, Greg Sankey, when they only announced 3 SEC teams in the playoffs, I guarantee you Greg Sankey was trying to figure out every way imaginable to try and blow that whole system up. And Greg Sankey's got the power. He's got the juice to do it.
Well, The problem with the NCAA is it's like I don't remember because I watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy once, but that one guy who says you have no power here, that's what the NCAA when they walk into the room and all the football schools are saying that to them or a courtroom because I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but Vanderbilt's Diego Pavia was granted an injunction for ad eligibility. We talked about it. Everybody's like, "Oh no, they'll never." Yeah, it did. I told you they were gonna take this all the way up.
Well, the thing is, that's only for him. It hasn't opened the floodgates yet, but it's going to.
Yeah, and it was only an injunction so that it can be further discussed and investigated.
Correct.
So
he's going to win.
He's going to win.
He's going to win.
There's no chance the NCAA can do this. And everybody say, well, it's not a job. It is for him. He ain't going to play in the NFL. It is semi-pro football here, kids.
Yeah.
It is a minor league system for the NFL. And as soon as the NFL and everybody else realizes that, we'll all be better off. This transfer portal is dumb. And here you go. You grant them one move in free agency, and then you have the opportunity to get drafted, be done with it. This is stupid. I don't care anymore. It's dumb. It's dumb. They're going to go where they want.
One of the few times, boys and girls, and I just want to say this, one of the few times I agree with Chris Miller.
You should agree with me what was going to happen with that Tennessee-Ohio State game, but you're
I agree with you on that. That ain't happening.
Walk-off field goal. Plant a flag, done deal.
It's going to be illegal to plant flags at Ohio Stadium after this bill passes.
Only the state of Ohio would come up with a stupid ass rule or law that keeps you from planting a flag.
It just won't be a flag. It won't be a flag. It'll be something else.
Plant a freaking tree right there. That's
when I saw that. I will say this: when
Buckeye tree.
Buckeye tree.
Fair.
When I saw this, and I read and I'm just like, dude, we got shellacked by Michigan again. Just shut up. Just
listen.
Shut up.
And I don't want to dive into this, but planting flags is juvenile and immature.
You're right.
I think it's stupid, but to make a law for it, even dumber.
No,
like, it outweighs. Hey, I see you're stupid. I raise you stupid.
The conference commissioners can fix it. Real simple. You do it. It's a $500,000 fine. Pay that.
Hey, and then every school's president's going, hang on, what's your Venmo? I got it right here.
The players are going to be like, hey, let's put $1,000 on this so we can do this. Okay.
Hey, everybody take a little bit out of their NIL money and put it into the
we're each putting 10,000 and we're good.
Yeah.
Again, this is it's asinine. The NCAA is they are so far out of their depth. They just are. This is all insane.
Well, you said that, and then it's still Jim. What did you say the number was for football players in the portal?
2,300 right now, I think.
2,300 football players in the portal.
And it's not over with yet. It's not over with yet.
I'm just saying. So we can blame the the NCAA, the SEC, all the conferences, these types of things, all we want. The players are still making these choices for misguided reasons, and many of them don't have somewhere else to go.
Right.
I want to know how many of those 2,300 are carryover from last year.
Well, there's probably some, but I guarantee you see what's going to happen is it's going to be the trickle-down effect. A lot of those kids are going to end up either going to FCS, which, by the way, the 2 semifinal games this weekend are going to be freaking phenomenal. A lot of them are going to go down to FCS. A lot of them are going to end up Division II. You're going to see a bunch of kids go NAIA.
Wait,
and then try to play themselves back into Division I.
Okay. Well, hey, those stock traders they sometimes lose money too, and they fall on their ass. And then you know what? They got to pay. These are life decisions. I mean, it's a life decision, so you pay a life consequence when it doesn't pan out. And if you want to bet on yourself, bet on yourself. That's fine. I have no problem with it because it's the system in place. I think it's dumb. Jim's gone. But these guys are making these decisions. Like, let's let them do it. Forget this. I mean, the NCAA is the one that I feel like has got a problem here.
So let's transition, Kevin. Use Chris's there to do our last topic, and you talk about the player doing what's best for them. Talk about some Arenado and what's going on with him.
So reports came out today that the Cardinals had agreed in principle to a trade with the Houston Astros for Nolan Arenado, including sending a significant portion of money, I think up to $30 million, to Houston to kind of cover the costs of his contract. And Nolan Arenado invoked his no trade clause and declined to go to Houston. Not much really was officially said nothing's been said officially out of the Arenado camp on this, but the speculation going around is that he didn't want to go to Houston. He only wants to go to a team that is for sure going to have odds to win the World Series.
Hey, there was something that came out of his camp. The thing that came out of his camp was no. That's what it was. No.
And we're not even sure if it was an emphatic no. Right. It might have been an hell no.
He, in essence, has painted the Cardinals into a corner. And basically, he's going to have – I mean, the Cardinals are either going to have to outright him and figure out a way to get rid of him because it's going to be miserable if they can't trade him. Because a lot of people think – and I heard this on Fastlane this afternoon on 101. They were talking about this. And they've pretty much – Arenado knows what 2 or 3 teams he wants to go to. Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's the only 3 trade partners that he's going to deal with.
Well, and so he's got the leverage at this point to do this because of those no trade clauses. But if you don't trade him, you kind of have to play him.
Yeah, and you're eating his salary, which Bowtie Boy himself keeps saying we're going to cut salary, and we want to build younger, blah blah blah. When you're carrying Arenado's salary, you can't be cutting. You can't. Where else are you going to cut?
So
front office profit.
I am all for the player doing what is best for him. There you go. I am all for the player doing what's best for himself. Let me ask you this, because you said Arenado has all of the leverage. Do you think that Arenado, how many years does he have left on that deal? Anybody know?
I think it's 3 years.
Okay, so then here's my other question. Do you think he plays beyond the 3 years?
Yes.
Okay, so then I'm going to do this.
But yes, he's on a roster.
He's a DH someplace.
Okay, so then I pull the little big league quote and say, okay, what's the going rate for an absent-minded third baseman that can't get on base? You're going to play. And if you suck, guess what? Not only are you not going to go to a playoff team, after the 3 years, you're not going to get whatever contract deal that you're hoping to get. Now,
right. Go ahead, Zach. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you said it. He's got all the leverage for right now, but is it the worst thing in the world if we have a future Hall of Fame third baseman playing third base for the Cardinals?
If he sucks.
Yeah.
I like what David Jarvis said. I like what Jarvis's brother just said. I hope he screws him.
Oh yeah.
Well, go ahead, Kevin.
All I'm going to say is, let's say we.
He was so dejected in that. Go ahead, Kevin.
I'm just being polite, Zach. Why don't you try it?
Thank you for showing up.
Hey, hold on. Zach's nicer than Waldo. I mean, where is Waldo?
Let's say he decides to have one of an average or above average Nolan Arenado year for his career. That then increases his value come next July before the trade deadline. Especially with having another 2 years after that, after this one on his contract. Wouldn't it just kind of behoove us just to hold on to him just to see if that happens?
No. I mean, if he's playing right, yeah, he's definitely gonna be a help. But he's not worth the $35 million. And excuse me, the $32 million that he'll make next year. $5 million of that will be paid by the Colorado Rockies still. And it's decreasing from there. So he goes from 32 on his total salary to next year in 2026 to be 27. 5 of that is also paid by the Rockies. That is probably one of the best moves Mo ever made, was making them have to pay so much money of his salary. Anyway, and then because they added a year prior to the 2021 season, he's $15 million, and that's the 3 years that he has left on the contract. So it does decrease, but still, so does his play. It's not going to get. It's like one of those guys who like, here's a sign of life, and then he just falls off, because it's like you get that one last breath, and then you're dead. That's about what his career is right now. So he's washed up. I say that, and he'll go somewhere and do really well, like everybody else who plays Spurs on the bat.
Right.
Hey,
like
by the
Goldschmidt's
way,
going to be MVP next year just because.
What do the Cardinals realistically get in return for him, though?
Well, I mean, if they could trade him to the Yankees, I get Jason Dominguez, and you got a switch hitting outfielder that's a better prospect than what we have right now. I would trade Newt Bar at that point and get somebody else.
I think the Yankees are off the board now that they've traded for Bellinger.
Well, that's true.
Hey, real quick note that just came across. Mizzou's going to lose out on another portal quarterback, as John Mateer is going to go to Oklahoma. That's going to fire up the Mizzou fan base.
Yeah, that sucks.
And by the way, the Josh Schertz experiment at SLU is not going well. They just lost to Walford tonight.
It happens.
See,
that's not
everybody's getting. It's breaking news here tonight on the Coach's Box.
Man, look at this go. Yeah. The Coach's Box is on top of things.
Any last topics to discuss quickly?
Wow.
I'm good.
We made a business decision.
Yeah, Chris, we made a business decision.
Oh, this one's going to be an early one?
Yes.
Yep.
Wow. Look at you guys go. Or like you guys got to get up and start teaching at 7 a.m. tomorrow.
It started 5 minutes late because I couldn't find the stupid password.
Oh, I couldn't find the red button to push. I remember those days.
Hey, no, I couldn't even get to the red button. I couldn't even find the password. There was no red button.
I'm sitting here for 5 minutes waving my hands in the shaded screen, and I finally had to send a text out. Let me in, please.
Well, the way they've redone it now, you're like really little over here in the corner, and it's hard to see. So I don't like this new design, Chris.
I don't either. It's terrible, but I'm not in charge of it.
That's right.
But all right. Well, hopefully, I don't know what next week's going to look like for us with it being Christmas week. We probably will take next week off, most likely, and we'll be back after the new year. With the episode 220 of the Coach's Box in the year 2025.
In the year 25.
We won't see everybody until next year.
Yeah.
So
it sounds like he's making an executive decision.
No, Zach, we're not going to have a show probably on Monday or Tuesday before New Year's.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at the calendar.
Hey, hold on. I've got to say something before we go. My wife and I got a gift certificate to go do something really cool last week that was to go curling.
That's awesome.
It was legit. It was like legit curling. They gave us, we had the shoes, the sticks, the sweepers, the rocks,
Did you
the whole
fall?
bit. Everybody
Did you
fell.
fall? Okay.
Everybody fell. Yes.
No hips were broken?
Nope, no hips were broken, but it was insanely fun. I think the 5 of us should try to find a way to get up to Creveport and go do a night of curling with the Coach's Box.
I'm so in.
I demonstrated how to take a charge with my team the other day, and these are decisions that at 41 years old I thoroughly regret.
Life decisions, right? You were just talking about life decisions.
Life decision, natural selection, all the above.
As the elder statesman of this group, if I can do curling at 57 in 2 weeks, I think y'all can do it. So let's do it.
Yeah, it was pretty legit. I would.
That's
I
awesome.
want to go join a league now and do it. It was pretty fun. So I feel like my first competitive throw ended up right on the button. I was like, I'm going to the Olympics.
That's awesome.
He's a natural. Sign him up.
John Schuster, sign me up. Oh shoot. Well, since this is our last show, boys, have a great Christmas next week and a great New Year's.
Yep. Everybody
good
watching.
Luck to all the teams.
Yep.
Everybody out there
Merry
watching.
Christmas
good luck to the teams.
I would say all the Jarvises, but Jason won't rewatch this episode, so I'll say Merry Christmas to David Jarvis while he's on here. Coach Rhodes, Bruce hiding in the back like that Homer Simpson meme.
Yep.
And even Langhauser. We'll wish happy Merry Christmas to Langhauser too. What the heck?
You might, I won't.
Kevin's hitting buttons again.
He's I know what to do with my hands right now.
Here, how about this one, Jim? This one's for you.
Yeah, I know. Thanks,
Oh, you like it? That's awesome. All right, so everybody, you guys have a good evening, a good Christmas, a good New Year's as well, and stay safe and have a great holiday with your family and friends. Guys, same to you guys as well.
Same to everybody.
Same to you, buddy.
All right. We'll see you in 2025, everybody. Have a good one.
This episode of the Coach's Box Call It Like We See It podcast is brought to you by Off the Rails Media. Life's more fun when you're off the rails.